Okay, today's subject is the shifter tunnel. Not this shifter itself, but the shifter tunnel. Unfortunately, this wasn't automatic, and when they had to cut it out to put in the shifter, they did a hack job, which I'll show you. Underneath this, that holds the shifter rod bushing, is completely flopping around loose. And so that's not going to work for me. So I am going to remove all of this, take out the shift rod, weld in place the shifter plate that I bought and bushing holder that I bought from J-Bugs, and then I'm going to take the old one, cut it up, and turn it into something that will be help me get a little bit of a factory look on top. This thing is troubled, but we'll see what I can do. These bolts are also not even the same size, so that's making this a little bit interesting. I will also be rectifying that. You hear it fall? Yeah, it's not supposed to do that. That falling is the result of the shifter bracket, bushing bracket, not holding in place. So now it flops around down in the valley. Got the flashlight here, so hopefully you guys can see down in there. Let's see. Try it from this angle. So there's the shifter and the bracket. Completely fell, rotated 90 degrees, complete mess. So the goal is to clean up this whole area. You can see how egged out the two mounting holes are, how sort of rough edged the sides of the holes are. So I am going to pull the shifter rod out through the front. I'll show you a teeny bit of that, but it's pretty straightforward. And then I'm going to kind of bend up a little bit the flange here, this whole area. And once I do that, I can then weld on a new clean bushing bracket. Weld that in. I'm going to keep those holes because those holes are going to give me some basic alignment. And then I'm going to try to do what I can to make it look as cleaned up and factory as possible. If somebody pulls it off, they'll know that it's been changed, but they'll hopefully know that it's been done a little bit better than the original guys did. Their conversion from an automatic to a stick was just a bit of a hack job. They left a lot of the wiring in and everything. It's just a mess. So anyway, I'm going to have at it. The next thing you need to do is remove the cover over the shift coupler. This is what connects the shift rod to the input rod on the transmission. So it's a single Phillips screwdriver. I got to put the light down. Hold on a second. Only have two hands here. Then you remove that bolt there, which actually should be a four-sided bolt with a hole through it for safety wire. So I'm going to remove that, and then I'm going to be able to undo the shift coupler and pull that thing out. I'm curious, it looks a little weird, like something might be wrong with the current setup. So I may find when I pull this thing out that it is an entirely new form of hack job. So we'll see. That shift coupler here needs to be more over here, and it has a few extra holes in it. So I'm thinking somebody welded that together. So we'll see how it goes. If it feels sturdy, I'm going to keep it, but it sure as hell ain't pretty. Alright, see you guys. Alright, so I'll walk you through real quick the two covers you got to remove, top side, and then there's one underneath. So right there behind the bumper, obviously I don't have a bumper. That one is held in place with the nut on the back. Then this is the next one next to the plate there that has information about the car. This is one Phillips head screw. If you swing around, you can see there the other back side of that one. And then there's one behind that inside one that is between the front torsion tubes, and that's just going to be a little bit of a bite because I got a lowered nose, so we'll figure out how I'm going to get in there. I may or may not be able to bring you guys in, but I'll try. Okay, so front right tire, other tire over there, there's the panel. So I just have to pop those two screws off there, and that drops down, and then I can basically fish out the shifter. So not too bad, should be pretty easy. Has it shown up yet? Alright. Nope. Okay, so this is where the problem itself makes solving the problem a challenge. So the shift rod was getting caught because the bracket was still on it. So the bushing bracket was getting hung up on different little doodads inside the tunnel. So what I did was I used a large ruler. Here you can see goes to 48 inches. I have about a foot of it still sticking out. So basically I shoved that underneath the shift rod, and it allowed me to get into the deep into the tunnel and over some of those things that I was getting caught on, and then slide the shift rod pretty much out. You can see the head of it right there. So now I'm just going to go in there, fish it out, and then pull out both the ruler and the shift rod. So I'll put you guys up on the stand to see that last little bit. Still getting hung up. I'll bring you guys back in a minute. Alright, got it out. That bend, by the way, is supposed to be there. This is what was left me. This is pretty chewed up. And obviously that's some brazing or something. So, see if you can look through it there with the white background. Does that hole look even to you? Yeah, me neither. So, yeah. Not really pro work. Here's what's left of the bushing. Let me just... the ring that holds it on. So yeah, I won't be reusing this. I have a new one to put in and weld up, and that's what I'm going to go do. So I'll bring you guys back in a little bit when I start doing some welding. Slight correction. That hole is way off. That one's in the right spot. So what I've got now, which I think is going to work. See there, it's off by a good ½ inch, center to center. So I'm going to bend up these edges so I can lift this thing up higher. I've got too much of a gap there. I'll figure that out. And then I'm going to weld along here, try to get this thing as center line as I can. Again, this hole is kicked that way too much. So I'll have it something like that. Pull this up with probably some vice grips. Give it a yank. Lift the whole housing up a little bit higher. And that will hopefully get me good flat surface, well along the inside. Bang, bang, boom. I'm going to have to cut out a little bit more here, I think. All right. Let's get to it. Okay. Can I just say, it stinks in here. Burned rubber. There's the final results. I will be doing some cleaning up of those welds. I'll probably go give them another pass in some spots and grind them down, see how it holds. But it's not like I'm trying to lift the car by it, so it should work. Bit of a mess, but you know, a little bit of melting there, a little bit of melting there, a little bit of burning there. So I knew I was going to get some of that melting, but I wasn't going to pull up the flooring, just not going to mess with that. So whatever, I'm good. This will get sanded down, clean it up, and it's going to work a lot better than it did before, which is all I'm ever hoping from any of my improvements, any of my projects. I hope you guys have the same success. Make things better if you can, and learn along the way. Well, it ain't perfect, but it is solid and functional. The hole is the size it needs to be. Not quite the polished look I was going for, but there's only so much I can do in that tight area. So I'm calling it done. Now I'm going to start reassembly. So which one of these do you think is a genuine Volkswagen part? A or B? Well, turns out B. If you look right there, Volkswagen. Well, it looks like they had to extend this item. We have the hole here. They took that thing and, you know, that collar, and they gave another one there and another one there, welded them all up, because it looks to me like more likely than not my shift rod is permanently short by about, say, 2.5 inches compared to the replacement. So this is the empty replacement. These are the bits from the these are the bits from the shift rod coupling that was in the car, the longer one. These are the replacement parts, new urethane bushings and, you know, the grub screw and all that kind of stuff. So I obviously will be taking those, putting them in that instead of that, and those can go away. So not ideal. The longer one, obviously, it puts the shift rod coupler, I should say, not underneath that access plate in the back of the car. It puts it a little bit farther forward of that. So this could end up being a massive pain in the butt to try to get back on, but we'll give it a shot. So it's time to put the shift collar bushing in, this thing, in that piece that I just welded up, and then I'm going to put the shift rod in, and then I am going to put all of this stuff together. So wish me luck. As expected, the shift rod is a good few inches shy of the transaxle input shaft, and that's when, follow along here, the shift rod is not even in the right spot. It's not even in the center of the mounting hole there. So what that means is I am going to push the shift rod farther back. I'm going to get the coupler on there, you know, the bolt through the bushing and all that jazz, slide it back forward towards the front of the car, so that I can then slip it over the transaxle input shaft. So a little bit of a dance, not ideal, but I am going to go with the welded up bushing coupler. So it's not going to be worth it for me to do one of my own when I know that this one's the right length and works. So moving on. Yeah, it was a bit of a challenge to get that thing in there, but it is in. Loctite on the grub screw, Loctite on the screw that goes into the end of the bushing coupler. So we're good, and now all I got to do is put the cover back on and get the shifter back in place, put those front covers on, and I think we're about done with this project. Okay, I've got them all buttoned up. Those two in, the one underneath in. Now I just got to finish up the test inside the car. So I'm going to go do that real quick, and then I'll sign off. Okay, the shifter's in, and it's working. It is basically a short shifter because this has been cut down from stock. So first, second, third, fourth, and then reverse. So I am pleased with how it came out. It's much tighter with that bushing, which I'm not used to, and the tight polyurethane bushings at the coupler in the back. This thing is a snug shifter, so hopefully it'll break in a little bit, but right now it's tight. So I'm okay with that. Better tight than sloppy, and I think once I'm out driving it's going to be even better. So that's it for me. See you guys.